Hey guys, welcome to Daniel's Custom Guitars. Today, I'm going to be doing something different for you guys. We're actually working here on my personal Fender Stratocaster. It's a Fender Fat Strat, probably in early 90s with the two single coils and the humbucker. It's got the upgraded Kohler floating tremolo on there. If I can get it to come into zoom. And some nice Goto tuners on it. And really, I'm having a little bit of problems with buzzing on the guitar. And probably the biggest problem is this 5-way selector. For some reason, the humbucker doesn't like to work all the time. And one thing we noticed was that there's actually another, what used to be, I think it's called a mini toggle switch here, which you can have, actually instead of just 5-way, you can have it go to 7. So we're going to, I think, need to replace this. I think this is the culprit here. And we have another little toggle switch that we'll put on there. And then we'll do a setup on the neck, put some new strings on it, and it should be good to go. So luckily what we got here, we have a bunch of different selectors, little mini toggles, some more traditional with the metal switch, some actually a little bit less traditional with the sliding tab. Honestly, I probably would prefer having this piece here. It's a little bit lower profile, but it is actually feels to be made out of plastic, and I'd hate for something like that to break. So honestly, given the size of the hole, I think this is probably the better choice. Something that we can have that'll be metallic, probably last a little bit longer, be a little bit more durable. So we need to figure out different sizes. We've got some that are a little thicker, some that are thinner, and what's going to work best. So go ahead and take apart the back of the guitar, and if you can see here, it is actually a pretty big mess. Somebody obviously went in and did this aftermarket mod, maybe even changed the pickups. I don't know, I haven't pulled the pickups out of this to see exactly what style they are, but they added this switch right here, which you might have a little trouble seeing, but there's a little switch which is the culprit. On this side, it's actually got the tab completely broken off of it, so there's no selector, and there should be another piece of metal from the bottom of that selector piece that is stuck down in here, and sometimes the humbucker, when we're fully here in the bridge position, will work. Sometimes it just doesn't. So I think this is the culprit. We'll go ahead and pull this out and have a little closer look at it.
The switch has 3 terminals right here. The way it works is if you want, say, these two to be the on-off, then that would be on right there with the switch away from it. And then when it's flipped over like that, those two would be off.
Okay.
Or no continuity. So you can pick either two with the center and then one side or the other.
Okay. And it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter
Which wire's on which.
Nope.
It's just connecting them or breaking the connection.
Right.
Okay.
And being a low voltage passive system, there's no really right way or wrong way. There's no hot or cold side.
Okay.
Although there'd probably be some disagreement with that among the electricians and electrical engineers in the crowd. Okay.
I don't have to worry about cleaning this side up very much. Do we stand down the neck a little too?
Sand it down.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, sure. It won't hurt anything to just smooth it out a little bit.
Yeah.
But so,
What we need to do is,
get that.
I tried to, the thing is turning, but I think the component's turning with it.
Try something.
There you go. Here, 1 second.
It's kind of hard to get to it. Hold on. Those two pickup, see it goes to the red and blue on that one pickup wire. So this is probably a phase reversal switch. It's taking those two, maybe something like that. I don't know. But kind of dig around there and see if you can find the end of a black wire that was attached to that, because that looks like it, I don't know, just came loose or was never connected in the first place. I'm confused now.
This is always the fun part of dealing with other people's shoddy work on something. So we got the first wire ran to the new switch. We're going to run another wire, and this one actually will have to go through the center, and we'll go to a ground. So we weren't exactly sure what this switch was doing, but if you look at it, you can see how this metal wire is actually coming off this tab on the top up here. It connects to it, so that's a ground. Right? So we figured this is a ground, and what this might do is allow part of the humbucker to actually be, would you say, grounded out?
Kind of just, when it shorts it to ground, that's another way of turning something off.
Okay. So we're literally taking the humbucker and either potentially makes it a single coil, turning off half of it,
Or just a smaller coil.
or a smaller coil, and or just turning it off completely. Which is what we think the issue was, that this was broken in the wrong position, and so the humbucker didn't work at all. It's always kind of sometimes hard to tell on this stuff when it's been modded after the fact, what somebody was doing or what's in there. And you kind of got to spend time looking at it to figure out exactly what it was and how to fix it.
Wherever you want to ground this to. I gave you enough wire there so we can. So if it's arranged this way, that would be off and this would be on. So you probably want to turn it around like that, because when you turn it that way, then it'll be off. That's on right there, I think.
Let's do it the opposite way.
So it's on the other way? Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how. That's a pretty thin right there, so you don't really need a whole lot to go through there or something.
Can we hold it?
I got it. Just have my finger tight.
Okay. Time to throw this little piece of junk away.
That's a pretty good spot right there. Just hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it. Okay. You can let go.
We took that switch, we actually connected it, found a ground, and hooked it to that ground. So now it should be plugged up and working. So now we got the new switch in. I'm gonna go ahead and put some new strings on the guitar. We'll go ahead and test out, make sure the switch is working, and then we can finish a little final setup on the guitars. So I'm actually putting on, I'm using some Elixir Polyweb. They're the super light, so down to 9s. These will be great fast playing strings. These are actually known as being slick and fast. So one thing, if you can see on it, it's actually the entire string is coated. A lot of times they won't actually coat the entire outside. What they'll do is this is wrapped. It's a wire wrapped with another wire, and they'll just coat the wire that's wrapping around. This is actually completely coated, so it's like they just take the whole thing and dip it in their coating. So this is a locking trim, and I actually don't use the trim on this guitar, so I have these strings tightened all the way. And what that does is it pulls this bridge flat down. That just kind of helps me, makes it easier for me to tune it, and I don't really use a tremolo a lot. And if I do, I use my Ibanez Gem for that, which has got a really nice Floyd Rose that we'll actually be upgrading here soon. So stay tuned for that video. So put the thing in the hole, put the string in the hole, tighten this piece here using a little Allen key, and we'll lock the string in. We'll come down here to this other end, and I'll show you guys how to actually string a guitar the right way. And there's many different ways on how to do this. You'll see a lot of thoughts, but I see a lot of people do, and the way I was originally taught to do it is to run the string through. Alright, we'll pull, I usually go about 2 tuning pegs, and on this one I'll go a little less. I don't need to have full 2, so about, you know, maybe 1.5 inches. Come back, and I would kink it this way, kink it that way, and then just wrap underneath. But what we actually want to do now is I will go ahead and run it through, make sure I've got that extra gap, and then I'm going to take the string and take it and kind of fold it around on top like this, so it's actually looped above. Now when I go, and I actually want to kink it up too, now when I go ahead and tighten the string, it's doing a loop below. So if you can see that, let me see if I can get a little closer there. The string that originally came through the hole is now wrapped on the top and on the bottom by these new wraps. What that does is it squeezes the string, helps it stay in tune a little bit better. And then just keep holding it down. You don't need a whole lot of wraps here. A lot of people go way overboard on the number of wraps. Maybe one up top, two below. And there you go. That's how to wrap a string the correct way.